Hey, what's up? My name is Jonathan Fink. This is my audiobook series, live and free on YouTube. Up next, The Pokemon Gods Are Real, Chapter 38, The Divine Number 151. Every belief system has its sacred numbers, numbers that transcend counting and become symbols. Numbers that stop functioning as quantities and begin functioning as myths. In Pokemon, no number carries greater spiritual gravity than 151. On its surface, 151 is merely a total, the number of Pokemon in the original set. A tidy figure, the closing boundary of the Kanto Pokédex. But to those who lived through the earliest era of Pokemon, 151 was never just arithmetic. It defined the universe. The first generation of Pokemon formed a complete world, and 151 marked the total. Bulbasaur to Mew, beginning to end, known to unknown. For children encountering the franchise in the late 1990s, this number created something rare and psychologically powerful, a world that felt both vast and conquerable. Large enough to inspire wonder, small enough to imagine completion. To catch them all was not just an abstract slogan, it was a mathematical defined quest. 151 was a number that invited obsession, organization, and memorization. Children recited Pokédex entries like mantras, debating evolutions like theology, and counted progress with religious intensity. How many do you have? How many remain? Completion became a form of salvation. Unlike modern generations, which balloon into the hundreds, the original 151 possessed a unique narrative and elegance. Each creature felt distinct, memorable, and necessary. There were no excess characters, no sprawling pantheon. Within that system, Mew occupied a position of extraordinary symbolic power. Number 151, the final entry, the last one. A Pokemon whispered about more than seen, rumored to exist beyond ordinary reach. Its placement was not accidental in the minds of believers. 151 did not end with certainty, it ended with mystery. This is how sacred numbers behave across cultures. They anchor belief while preserving wonder. They define boundaries while hinting at transcendence. In Pokemon, 151 accomplished both. It was totality and invitation, closure and possibility, a perfect mythic number. The psychological effect was profound. Children did not merely play Pokemon, they mapped themselves onto its numerical structure. Collections were measured against 151. Knowledge tested against 151. Status derived from proximity to 151. To know all Pokemon was mastery. To own them all was legend. The number became identity. Even absences gained power. Missing one Pokemon felt intolerable. A gap in the sequence was not a minor inconvenience, but a fracture in cosmic order. The search for the final entry, often Mew, became an initiation ritual shared across playgrounds worldwide. Rumors flourished because the number demanded resolution. Yet, 151 also carried an unspoken lesson. Completion was almost always elusive. The sacred number both promised and denied. And so, desire endured. Decades later, the symbolic force of 151 remains astonishing. It resurfaces in anniversary sets, promotional products, collector discourse, and market behavior. The number continues to evoke something primal among long-term believers, a memory of a world that felt ordered, finite, and magical, a universe that could fit inside a child's imagination. Nostalgia scholars might argue that 151 represents a generational imprinting effect. Economists might attribute its power to first mover advantage. Psychologists might cite cognitive biases towards early exposure. All of these explanations hold truth. None fully capture the feeling. Because for collectors, players, and lifelong believers, 151 does not behave like a statistic. It behaves like scripture, a numerical relic from the Genesis era of Pokémon, permanently charged with memory, identity, and myth. The number feels alive because it wants to find everything. In an ever-expanding franchise where new generations continuously stretch the boundaries of the Pokémon, 151 remains uniquely self-contained. It is the original cosmos, the first divine order, the mythology from which all later mythologies descend. Not just a number, but a creation story. This is why products, subsets, and references tied to the original generation carry disproportionate emotional energy. They reconnect collectors to a time when the universe felt smaller, clearer, and somewhat more intimate, when mastery seemed imaginable, when mastery felt infinite, when 151 was the whole world. And like all sacred numbers, its power is not diminished by rational analysis. If anything, understanding its structure only deepens appreciation. The elegance of the number, the symmetry of the quest, the placement of Mew at the threshold of the known and unknown, all reinforce its mythic resonance. In the religion of Pokemon, the number 151 will forever be considered sacred. End of chapter 38. Up next, chapter 39, statistics in the hobby. Please like, please subscribe. Yes, I care. I appreciate you guys so much. Really, it's just amazing to have the ability to do this stuff live and free on YouTube. So, if you can't read my books, listen to them on your walk to work, or on your bike ride, or when you're exercising, or when you're going to sleep, or doing the dishes, whatever. However you enjoy to, however you are able to enjoy my stories, I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. God bless.